All right, everybody, welcome back. It is Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, here at PreciseAlgorithmTrading.com. We are traveling today, so I have a little bit different setup, but I think I can get through everything that we normally do. So let's go through the charts. This is our automatic trading system today in the Dow futures contracts, or Dow futures contract, I guess that's what it is. And we've been on a downward move here lately, and today, 11:29, are these trades. So, um, what we want this thing to do is bounce back sometime soon. So it'll happen, and the fact that we got a nice bullish trade at the end of the day um, is actually pretty positive, if you ask me. So if you look here, we have these bellies, and we have this belly, and now we've got this belly, and in the before I made the changes to the algorithm, we were in a belly. So this belly is the same. It's just going to pop up and sooner, and it's going to not be as deep as it would have been. So that's that, and let's move on. This is the Russell. It didn't trade today, so I'm actually going to apply some math to the Russell to do the same as I've done with the other two indexes, and I may even look into oil and gold. I probably won't trade them personally, but I'll put them out there as potential to see how they work, because the system we have, it doesn't matter what the instrument is, it's going to be a little bit different in some of the parameters as far as like lengths of crossovers and things like that. But and actually the amount of drawdown, which is going to be like where you set your stop, which we have hard stops on these things. And the reason for that is because if you get 10 losses in a row, you want to control that, because it's going to happen. It's just the way the odds play. But if you get 10 gainers in a row, you don't want to have any restriction to the upside. So you want to restrict it to the downside. Don't restrict it to the upside, and that's what makes an upward trending equity curve. So I think we can do. This was a fine equity curve when you have an $11,000 win, but having this drawdown makes me crazy. So to eliminate that and continue, or to keep the big gain, that's what we're ultimately after. So that's what I'm going to look for, and that's what I will share. Um, so here's just the Russell showing that it didn't trade today. Last trade was on 11:28. This is the Nasdaq, and it is pulling back up again. It's doesn't walk up perfectly. It ebbs and flows. So today's trades are actually really good. Um, that's the total of today's trades. More winners than losers, and a couple of losers, but all in, that's pretty good. And actually, if you look at this whole page, it's pretty good. All right, that's the automated trading systems. The best part about them is they're automated, and they go about their business even when I'm tied up all day. Let's go to the charts. This is the S&P 500 today, and we walked sideways. That's the E-mini futures contract that is also walking sideways into tomorrow right now. However, we got a high wave candle. Let's look at that on an SPX. This could be the beginnings of a topping candle. We did get a break to the downside on the 1 hour average true range ATR trailing stop, which could be a signal that we're finally going to pull back a little bit. We've been walking up, we've been walking sideways, and we're due for a pullback. And that is just as evident, more evident maybe today on this chart that we've been looking at. We've been walking up, we've been walking sideways, and that's the biggest bearish candle we've had so far in this whole, since 11.9. So, um, can it get reversed? Sure it can. We'll see. Um, and yes, my stops got taken out for my short plays. And do I still think that we're going to get hit up here to the upside? Probably. And do I still have another short on today because of the way that candle looks? Yes, I do. It's really to protect my long positions, and I'm willing to take the risk on the short position for the short-term loss versus the long-term gain. And if this thing pulls back, then I will be protected even more. It's not any different than really any other position. So that's where we're at. That's how that works. Let's move on. At least it works with the way it works for me. Maybe other people have different ways to trade that, but this is the Dow, and it looks like a topping candle. It's not got the break to the downside on the hourly chart like the S&P. So I still think we're going to tag this upper 52-week high. But if we pull back first, then I'd say the next time we come up to the 52-week high, we would likely break through and go higher. So a pullback would make it a much more basically, we'd be able to catch our breath before we try to take the next level higher. The Russell, yeah, sure looks like it's pulling back. I mean, look at it on the hourly, look at it on the daily. If we get a bullish move out of the gate in the morning because of some report somewhere that's red, and the markets, basically the big banks and the institutions want to push this thing higher, that's what they're going to do. So they'll take out people like me and their stops, and really what they take out is the people who don't have that kind of risk management. Let's look at here. The NASDAQ, this doesn't really look like a topping candle to me, except for the little bit of upper wick. So that's where I think, see, look at how much we actually tagged that upper with 52-week high. I'm kind of expecting that in all the markets. So like when I put these short positions on, they're hedges, and that's all they are. They're kind of like loss leaders in business. So you put out a loss leader knowing you're going to lose in order to make the gains in the bigger picture. So hope that makes sense. And the Dow transports actually look pretty bullish today, if you ask me, even though it's a bearish looking candle, but we gapped higher to get into it. So, and look at the hourly, we're over here above the ATR trailing stop. And if we look at this in wave theory, we broke to the upside. This is a break of structure to the upside, and therefore not necessarily this pivot, but the previous pivot should hold. Actually, this pivot should hold. This is a break of structure. This should be a strong low. So this is actually a great place to potentially, for me, to think about initiating a new long position, which goes and flies in the face of everything else because we're so stretched to the upside, which is probably, as long as I manage my risk and I put my stop below right there, I'd only be risking from roughly 242 down to 239.7. Okay, so, and I'm not saying I'm going to make that play, but it's because I'm traveling, but it is one for consideration. So that's that. Let's look at oil, just because it's a good market to look at. It's going to take a second. There we go. We're possibly making that rounding bottom here, at least for the short run. Nothing I would jump into from a long standpoint yet. That's oil. What's gold doing? GLD. I meant to add that to this for every night just because, we got a buy signal back here. Arguably a buy signal back here that's turned into that. That would have been a great signal that I did not take advantage of. So I kind of like to keep it on my radar a little bit more. because it doesn't necessarily travel along with the rest of the markets. It's independent. All right, moving on. Let's go to stockcharts.com and look at the bullish percent indexes, or indices, and see what they're doing. So down 4.5%. This is what I was talking about last night. They're starting to fall, so they're actually showing us. So this is up 1.64%, the NYA. The transports, they rolled over to O's but didn't move again today. That's interesting. The NASDAQ up 1.59%. This is actually, in my opinion, so far, saying we're going to hit those 52-week highs, even though they're just an inch away right now. So there's not a lot to gain and more probably to lose. This is up 2.22%. That's the S&P 500. Wow, that's interesting. The OEX, that added a new X today. Wow, up 3.23%. And the NDX is tacked on a new X. So this market is still holding on as bullish. So actually, that makes more of an argument to be able to take the transportation index long, IYT. So although these are nosebleed areas up here, this is above 70, taking new trades in that area, you know, there's probably still more to lose than the gain. You just have to really control your risk. So anyways, that's what I got for you guys tonight, and take care. We will catch you again tomorrow night, unless I get hung up, and then I'll catch you on the weekend review instead. So have a great night and good trading tomorrow. Take care.